Welcome to the Craig and Greg Show, presented by Maximize Leadership. Now, here are Craig Owens and Greg Harris.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Craig and Greg Show. I'm Craig, alongside Coach Greg. You look good in that jersey.
Well, I'm bringing it back. For those that don't know, this is Kelvin Johnson's uniform.
Megatron.
They all know him now because he used his nickname.
Right.
This is kind of nice. The Hawaiian blue is not bad. It brings out the hue in my eyes.
There's a hue.
There's a hue. I don't know if it could be a cloud. It could be a fog.
Well, the reason why I called Greg Coach is that's what we'd like to talk to you a little bit about. And Greg and I enjoy our time being able to coach other people. But Greg, I'm not sure. Let's unpack this a little bit. Do you think that everybody, in order to go to another level, does everybody have to have a coach in order to get there?
Maybe the definition question should be, where do you want to get?
Okay.
So I have found through my own life that I can go pretty far by myself. But I don't know if I get to the top level without someone maybe pushing me,
Sure,
checking in on me, advising me, questioning me, maybe even giving answers that I'm just stuck with. So I think where you want to go is one thing. Some probably had pretty good people in their lives, so maybe hiring a coach or contracting a coach might not be, in their sentence right now. They might have had a great parent or a great family member, uncle, coach, teacher, youth pastor that really influenced. But I feel this is a general statement, Craig, but I think everyone probably deserves a coach at some point.
everybody deserves a coach. Okay, I like that.
Coach.
I like that. But now, when we talk about, and you kind of already alluded to this, but when we're talking about a coach, we're not talking about you've got something broken, you're deficient, you're not going to go anywhere. That's not what we're looking for in a coach. We want a coach that says, you're already pretty good. Let me help you get to the next level, or let me help you see something maybe you haven't seen before. You might not even be aware that this is holding you back, but
Yeah,
that's really what it is the coach is trying to help you get someplace better.
better. If you're on a team, a coach can help you with that, a team at your company, a team in your organization. I also feel potentially the person who maybe is in the position to, I think I need a coach to get to the next level. I'd like to apply for that job. Corrective action coaching is not really where we're talking about today. Like someone was brought in to help this person. If he or she doesn't figure this out, they won't be there. That's corrective action kind of coaching, where you're kind of coming in to maybe put out the fire, get the compass reset to go in the right direction. I think this is just excellence in coaching. Just, how do I want to get to the next level? That could be marriage, could be work,
Right.
A lot of relationship stuff. The coaching part that's so cool is you've done it very, very well in your career, paid and unpaid, right? I mean, this is your role as a leader. The fulfillment from the coach standpoint is quite a riot.
Yep.
Like, Mary, you made it. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, versus, yeah, I told you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and you did it. Okay, that sounds like a robot.
Right.
And it's so fun to see someone excel.
Yes.
You've had some great leader to another leader, and you coach them.
Well, I think of a couple of guys that I'm coaching right now. One of them is just, at first when we sat down, I was kind of like, so why do you need a coach? What is it that I could really do for you? And he was just saying, I want to make sure that I don't have any blind spots. I just want to run something by somebody who's not on my team right now, because they might be a little bit nervous to point something out to me. One of the other guys that I'm coaching is a phenomenal young leader that there's just a couple of things where he says, this is one that I couldn't go to my senior leader because it would be an awkward conversation to have, but because you're not on the team, there's no, I'm not going to show up at a meeting later and see you and just going to be like, yeah, we were talking about that, just like,
Right.
okay, how do I get past this pot? What, I don't want to be held back here.
Yeah.
But I think that talk about like, what would a coach's role be in like proactive versus reactive? Like sometimes coaches are helping you up front. Sometimes coaches are working with you right in the middle of the game to say, hey, hold on a second, we got to change what we're doing. Where do you see the coach's role that way, proactive versus reactive?
What just pumped in my head, I didn't go to Duke, but Coach K was a really solid person, and he happened to be at a good institution. He happened to be around ball players. I remember one of the announcers say, watch right here. He's already done the coaching. And I thought, what did he say? He called the timeout. Like, what? He's got to do coaching in the huddle. Nope. The coaches talked. Coach K just got his team off the court to kind of prevent the momentum from the other team going another basket or two. That's it. He went in the huddle. It was 5 seconds. You know what to do. I mean, there already was practiced coaching.
Sure. Yep.
So come the game, really Coach K didn't have to do much. I think that's one of my roles or goals would be as a coach is just hey, I'm going to put a little bumper guard on this one thing. That's it. And then you're bowling on your own.
Right.
You're going to roll that ball down there and hopefully you get all 10 pins. And then when they get 10 pins, I be quiet because they did it.
Right.
I didn't do it. They knew what to do.
Yep.
And I think that's really where I wonder for us leaders if we feel a value when they need us.
Yep.
And my hope is that eventually let's just be cohorts, teammates.
Yeah.
But you're not relying on me anymore.
Right.
And it's almost like parents. You eventually have to say, yep, they found someone and they flew the coop and they're setting their own house up. And that's okay. That's natural. John Fogerty, it's an old song. Sorry for being old. But, said, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. And sometimes they're not. Right. And the coach has to deliver some tough news. It doesn't mean corrective action, just more, hey, we're not quite there yet. Yeah. We got to work on this yet.
Right, because I don't want to put you in there and like it's totally damage your self-esteem and, you want to throw in the towel. You're not quite ready yet.
Or it could be an expensive mistake or it just needs a little more time to ruminate, or people will start seeing you as a leader and I can be quiet because I don't have to point to you.
Right.
I just think put me in, coach is such a cool sentence because that's really all we're doing as coaches. If you go to our website, we've got a list of coaches with their little specialties, picture of them. It's because they really wish to serve. That's one of your favorite words is the shepherd part is, we're not the sheep and we're not going to produce our own wool, but you have a flock. You need to protect them, provide for them, nutrition, good rest, etc. Get them in that spot they can be successful. That's what I like.
You mentioned, Coach K at Duke. I really enjoyed studying the teaching of John Wooden, the coach at UCLA. And one of the things that I liked that he did was during practice, he would frequently go way up in the stands so that he could look down and get this big, kind of the perspective of the game that's going on. And he'd make some notes and then he'd come down and pull one player aside and he'd say, look at over here on this side of the court, and he put down a piece of tape. On a piece of tape, he said, in this zone right in here, we're going to set up plays to put you in here because this is where you score. When you're in here, you make all of your baskets. And so this is where we're going to put you. So his statement was, when it came game time, he said, when it's game time, the coach's job is almost done. Because his job was to step back and say, this is where you're going to be successful, so I'm going to set you up to be in that spot. Yeah. And I think that's what you and I really like doing in coaching is saying to somebody, because I've heard you later on when you've talked to me about somebody, you've listened to what they've said and say, so why are you still doing that part at your organization? Why are you doing that part? Wouldn't it be better if you delegated that part because this is your sweet spot. This is where you need to be, and you don't have enough time to be there because you're taking care of this. And that's what I think that, we and the other coaches that Greg mentioned that are listed there on the website, that's what we have the privilege of being able to do with somebody to say, well, hold on a second here. This is where you're really good. How can we make you really, really good in that spot?
Sometimes when we use the word coaching and leadership, so many of the analogies are sports. And so I digress and use Coach K. Duke. But I think my opportunity as a coach is sometimes organic.
Sure.
The problem you mentioned early on when we first teed up this episode is if you're a coach from the outside, you have two benefits. You don't have a predestined or a premonition of what is the problem. You're going to get to it kind of organically, right? When you're in it and another department complains about Billy Bob and you got to deal with it and you're going to coach them inside, well, you've already know that this is what they think about them. Right. So you're really not starting at scratch. You're not pulling out what's already inside the person. You're actually trying to defend the person from what's maybe their reputation or experience.
Yep.
And Michael Jordan, conceivably one of the best basketball players, no matter what height, right? Ever. And there's a picture of him with Dean Smith, and there's a picture of him with Phil Jackson, the coach from the Tar Heels and the coach for the Bulls. And Michael Jordan, probably his most famous pose is, he pulls the front of his shorts down and he's got his hands on his knees and he's kind of breathing, and taking a break. But in both pictures, he looks up at his coach like a 5-year-old kid saying, "Dad, can you teach me how to ride this bike?"
Yep.
The intensity in Michael Jordan's eyes to a Jackson or to Dean Smith is impressive. The quote that I read about him almost goes with those pictures, and they're unrelated. It basically was one of my best skills. I'm thinking, jumping, shooting, defending, dribbling, whatever. Nope. One of my best skills was I was coachable. I was aggressively hungry to learn. And I'm thinking, well, that's a little odd because he was one of the best, or if the best. If he's aggressively hungry for coaching, Greg, you better get some shoes on because it's going to be a different journey.
Yep.
And I think coaching potentially, Craig, has maybe a negative to it. Like corrective action.
Yeah.
And so I think that's our job for you all listening, and who would call us, text us, email us, invite us to connect, because it isn't about, there's something missing.
Right.
Well, what you're missing is the Mount Everest.
Yeah, exactly.
You're climbing up. You're at certain elevation, but you're not at the top.
Yep.
And that's a coach's opportunity to sit with that person, to call that person, to walk alongside. It's just a gas.
Yep. Well, let me tell you again, friends, this is one of the things that you need to watch for in your life is if somebody points something out to you and you immediately want to defend yourself, that's probably a point there that you would benefit from having a coach. When somebody says something to you and you're like, oh, well, no, because you don't understand. Okay, hold on. What if you're getting really defensive and feel like you need to justify or shoot down what the other person is saying? That means that there's something there that your teammate has actually, or your friend or whoever's pointed out, they've actually done you a favor.
Yeah.
So you need to go, wait a minute. Why was I getting so defensive about that? That's a spot where what Greg said, and let me just, we talk about this often. If you go to the Maximize Leadership website, there's a coaching tab on there. The form at the bottom is just kind of a free form. Just write that stuff down. Just put in there, this is what I kind of struggle with, or this is what I got defensive about. We're going to read that, and we're going to say, we can come alongside, we can coach you, or look at, here's some great coaches that we already work with. This would be somebody that would fit. And that's really what we're saying is we're just going, we want to get some of this stuff over here. You're not seeing it. It's a blind spot. We just want to bring it over here. So a lot of times when we do that, they're going to be able to self-correct.
Yes.
Just by us saying, hey, look, did you notice this? And you go, oh, no, I didn't see that. They'll be able to self-correct. Our job is just to, in a lot of cases, just, did you notice Have you seen, and that's where the coach can help.
In college, I have a degree from in psychology, and one of our experiments, we used basketball. Blindfolded the person, and you would take a look at the rim, dribble your basketball, go through your motions. We'd put the blindfolds on, and then you would shoot. But you would never take the blindfolds off. We gave you feedback. And in the end, probably over half were better shooters from the feedback than they were from their own optics correcting. That really got me about the power of coaching, power of encouragement, power of education, power of edifying, etc. And I think when you think about, a successful leader, that's kind of what we're dealing with here, is being a successful leader. I think one of the biggest telling trip-ups, pitfalls, is when the leader's not coachable.
Yeah, right.
And you talked about defensive. One is a know-it-all. That's another one that kind of deters, like you're probably not real coachable if you're a know-it-all. I won't do this too much, but, kids can do it really quick now. Like, now I rolled my eyes in the back of my head. I better be running outside if I did that to my parents. Like, no, you roll your eyes at them. And I think the last one is more about adversity to change. You're just adverse to change. Like, no, this is how I've always done it. Well, it's not working yet. Well, I'm going to make it work. And so coachability for the leader is really critical, because if they see it in the leader, like, you're still coachable, you're still learning. I think that is just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, well, we talked about that in a previous episode that, the teams are going to respond to the leader, and how they see the leader living something out. They're going to be open to that as well. So if I want to come alongside and coach my teammates, they better see that I'm coachable myself, that not that let me just, I've got the edicts from on high and I've got all the information, I'm going to give it to you, but to say, you know what, I haven't done that myself. And again, I think that, part of coaching doesn't have to, I think sitting down with a person is good, but I think even when you say, I read something in this book and it really made me think, boy, I had to stop and, think about that a little bit more and process that. And I realized, I've got to make a change here. When you share that kind of stuff with your team too, you're also sending the signal, I'm coachable, and you're really kind of inviting your teammate, will you be coachable as well?
It's almost a competition or a challenge. Maybe it's a coachability challenge I've seen it a couple of times where someone wasn't coachable. They happen to be in leadership in some fashion, and it pretty much stymied them. So I've kind of put a little value on coaching, or coachability is one of the highest. I didn't say it was the highest. I mean, I think honesty is one, it's very virtuous, but I really, there's many others. But if a leader is going to get to their maximum, their biggest impact, I think that leader needs to be very coachable, because it sets the reflection, it sets the tone, it sets the map for other people. Like, well, Craig's still reading books every month. I better too. So we almost game up. There's almost a game up to it.
I think that's the good competition, when you're not trying to say, I'm getting to a finish line ahead of you, haha, I win. But hey, I'm going to push myself a little bit farther, because I got something to give you now. And then they say, oh yeah, well, I'm going to learn something, so I got something to give you. I think that's a really good way. And that's, again, what a coach can help you do, because a coach can even say, like I said, okay, now that we've brought this over here, all right, now what are you going to do about it?
Early on in my high school, we had a speaker come to our school. It happened to be one of the Amway co-founders, Rich Devos. And he started off with, who here is self-made? And a lot of people, kids raise their hand because they're not going to give credit to their parents.
Right.
And he goes, I'm not even self-made. You're like, what? Oh, I put my hand down. Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
His point, though, was spots, touches, points along the way, the journey, benchmark spots. There was someone there that go, Craig, you can do it. Just go ahead. Mm-hmm. They believed in you. They spoke into your life.
Yep.
And I think from that self-made, most of us in leadership have to say, I wasn't born on third base. I got picked off a couple times. I had to steal second, got a little dirty, slid in there, the second baseman put a hard tag on me. I had to work my way around the bases. But there was coaches along the way. Yep. Could be parents, could be teachers, could be an actual official coach.
Right.
And the value of that coach to me is the benefit of a coach is really quite succinct. I'd like to get to that over there, but I don't think I can do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
What a great sentence to give yourself.
Yep.
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go through the wilderness alone.
Right.
And there's some companionship like there. You're like, yeah, so this guy knows. Yeah, in fact, he called me the other day and set me straight before I even did it. That's a comforting feeling for leaders to be coached with someone who cares.
Yep.
It's not about control. So I think, one of the things I've heard of other companies that their leader hired a coach and said, all right, we're putting money towards coaching allowances for you all leaders. Talk about a trailblazer as a leader. Like he said he was going to.
Yep.
The next person, she signed up, she signed up,
Yep.
another person signed up. And they made coaching part of their culture.
Yes.
Right? What a great gift to say, so I don't have to know everything in this meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And I think, going back to the question that I asked earlier about, coaching, is it proactive or is it reactive? I think good coaching is both, because it's like what you just said. It's somebody either recognizing up front, I don't want to get tripped up by something,
Sure.
so help me to avoid some pitfalls along the way. You get to somebody who is a been there, done that person. Mm-hmm. So a coach can let their hindsight be your foresight, but I think it is also a reactive thing. Like, boy, I keep running into the same thing, or I didn't handle that well.
Right.
Why didn't I? Can you help me figure out why, this kind of tripped me up? But both of those things require some humility.
And I think that's the part where a leader can really say, we're just not going to be full of ourselves.
Yep.
Right now, I'm half empty.
Right.
I'm half full. Right. I'm a quarter empty. I need people to invest in me. And a coach is such a great role. It doesn't have to be forever. But I have heard some amazing testimonies of leaders who said, yeah, for us to be here today as an organization, yep, hard work, yep, diligence, yep, honest efforts, yep, opportunity in the marketplace, yep. Coaching development, leadership development that we really subscribe to got all of us there, not just the top person.
Yep.
Tom Landry's got a good quote. You would put that in there in our notes. Job of coach is to make men do what they don't prefer to do in order to be what they always wanted to be.
Yes.
I thought that sounds like a Yogi Berra-ism, But it's like, I want to get there, but I don't know if I want to get there. I do want to get there, though. Can you help me get there? For us as coaches, what a privilege, and I love it when a coach wins a particular trophy, and the news people are up there, microphone in his face, and they want to have you say something or catch something off guard. He goes, "I didn't play; the team played." He hands the trophy to his team, his players, and he walks off. I love when a coach does that. Yep. Even an owner, they played. You paid for their uniforms, you paid for the hot dogs and beer and the brats, whatever, but just get out of the way. It's not who anybody wants to hear. It's the players.
Yep.
And I think as leaders, if we can do that, if we can share the microphone and say, they played, I just got them ready.
Yep.
That's what a cool story.
Well, one of the things in this lovely book that you wrote back here, Sage Advice, one of the things that you said is, you got some advice from your parents and grandparents. But if you didn't have people in your family tree that were investing into you, you can still find there are other people who want to invest in you. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that earlier, that what a thrill it is for a coach to help somebody and see them soar as a result of that. And I think that's what our desire is. That's really, I mean, I think our coaching is one of the most exciting, fulfilling things that we do with people, because we get the thrill of not being, okay, we're behind the microphone now, but we say, you did it. You stand behind the microphone. All we did was just offer some advice for you to soar. You know,
I coached high school football for 20 years and 20 plus years. I always found it fun. You know, freshmen come in, you know, maybe they don't have any hair in their chest. High school football for boys, sorry. So they don't, you know, have any whiskers. Their voice isn't changing. You know, you're like, whew, boy, 4 years with this young man's, we're going to have to really be careful. 4 years later, the image of what happened is what happens when we coach other leaders. You're like, so who's that guy? Yeah. Well, that's Billy from ninth grade. That's Billy?
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
And then you look over we were there. We were together for 48 months, and you lifted weights, and you went to the meal table, and you gained muscle, and you got tougher, and wow. You did good, buddy. You did good.
Yep.
Versus a coach saying, I brought him. No, I did not. He hit the weight room. He ate the food.
He did it, right. I just pointed him the right direction.
It's so exciting. Yep. And so, the high school example is really kind of that one is, I don't know, that 14-year-old is going to, they're already 18 and they did it.
Yeah.
And it's so fun, and they get the credit.
Yep.
That's really what coaches do, is they point it back to their players,
Absolutely.
Teammates. You know,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what we say. So go to Maximize Leadership. Check out the coaching page that's there. We'll be the first to tell you we don't have all the answers, but we'll read what you share with us, and then we're going to get you connected with the right coach for you. And we just want to see you soar. We're going to step aside after we point out some things to you, let you work on it, and we believe you're going to do some amazing things. If you've got some ideas of some topics maybe that we could share in an upcoming episode, please leave us a comment below. Reach out to us on X at Maximize Podcast, and send us a message there. Say, hey, I like this on your show. Could you talk about this in an upcoming episode? We'd love to be able to do that. We're here to resource you so that you can get better, you can soar, you can take your team along with you. It's going to be a beautiful journey. So stay tuned. We've got lots of great content coming up for you soon.
And go Lions.
Get in touch with Craig and Greg through Twitter at Maximize Podcast or at MaximizeLeadership.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of The Craig and Greg Show.